Welcome back, guys. We are here for week 7, our news episode. Let's not waste any time. Let's get straight into talking about what happened in last week's game. So the biggest story we have to talk about, obviously, is the result. We came out with a loss, but that loss might have been the best thing for us because we went into a second straight overtime game, and that's very frustrating, especially after a bye week in which we were preparing. We know the Raiders are a dominant AFC West powerhouse, and we matched them up very well. We held them to only 16 points, and we ended up going into a tie game until overtime. They did get away with the field goal at the end, but we have to be happy with our performance, keeping it that close, and I think the loss might have just been better than another tie. That would have just left us with just not knowing what was going on. But anyways, to talk about the game, we dominated the rushing game once more. Not only our offense dominating by putting up 143, but we stopped them on defense, only allowing them to get 28 on the day. Unbelievable. Our passing yards, they did step up a little bit because we subbed in Cam Newton at halftime. We thought we've seen enough of Davis Mills struggling. Maybe this is a shot that he needs. We put Cam Newton in the game for the second half, and he did a pretty great job keeping us in the game for the long haul. Kick return yards, we blew him out of the water because our man has been killing it on kickoffs. Cam Johnson has been stepping in, just booting them all out the back of the end zone, not giving them a chance. We'd love to see that. We did have 2 turnovers to their 1. Very even game, though, otherwise. Time of possession. They did double us on time of possession, but we still seem to keep it pretty even, so you have to be happy about that. For the scoring trail, they got out to an early touchdown lead, 7-0. Then we put up a touchdown in the second quarter, at which they could not respond. In the third quarter, we both got a pair of field goals. In the fourth quarter, we got another pair of field goals. And then obviously they ended the game with that. Now let's go on to the player-specific stats. So in the player-specific stats, we start with the passing department. Derek Carr went for 328 with no touchdowns. He did throw 1 pick. So honestly, I'd say that's pretty good. I think we locked him down pretty well. Davis Mills, like we said, 155, 1 touchdown, 2 interceptions in only the first half. It was time to get him out. We threw in Cam Newton. He threw for 79. He didn't get too crazy, but he kept us in the game. No touchdowns, no interceptions. At least we're not giving the ball away, so we'll take that. In the rushing attack, Dameon Pierce, 109 yards on the day, 5.7 a carry, 4 broken tackles on the day, and 30 yards after contact. We'd love to see that. Josh Jacobs on their side, obviously they have a lot of praise and hope for this guy, but he was only able to put up 28 yards and 15 carries. That is 1.9 yards a carry. He did get a touchdown on the day, but besides that, nothing crazy. Nico Collins had a great sweep for 13. Marlon Mack at 3 for 13. And yeah, just some great contributions all around. We'd love to see that. On the receiving game, we were getting torn up. Our coverage units just could not hold out. And a lot of them were in the middle of the field. So obviously some blame does go to the defensive backs, but the linebackers, we know that's an issue on our team, and we need to fix it, and fix it quick. Darren Waller, 7 catches, 94 yards. Whenever they needed a catch, he seemed to step up there. Devontae Adams got started late in the game, 5 for 93, 18.6. Hunter Renfrow, 7 for 73. There's top 3 receivers killing it, all of them near 100 yards. Nico Collins actually was our leading receiver on the day, 4 for 65, 16.3 a catch. Kyle Rudolph had 4 for 47. Kendrick Bourne had 4 for 38. John Mechie had 4 for 38. He also had a touchdown on the day. And yeah, so just all around, they were dominating us in the passing game. We have to lock that down better. Deshaun Jackson did have that 1 catch, 24 yards. That was incredible. We'd love to see that. In the blocking, let's take a second to talk about that. Titus Howard, obviously one of the youngest guys on the line. He gave up 2 on the day, so we can't have that. Colton Miller for their side gave up 1, and Riley Rife gave up 1. So an even game. We both gave up 2 sacks. In the defensive department, tackles, they were led the way by Trayvon Moring. I forget how to pronounce that. 14 tackles on the day. Jerome Baker, our man that we just traded for, he had 10, tied with CJ Gardner-Johnson with 10, and also Jayon Brown. Steven Nelson had 8, Denzel Perryman had 8, and obviously the rest of the troops, they were going to go for tackles for loss. Linval Joseph had 2. Blake Cashman stepped up and got 2. That's why we wanted to step up and re-sign him. Jerry Hughes had 2. We had Chandler Jones with 2, Jerome Baker with 1, CJ Gardner-Johnson with 1, Jayon Brown, Denzel Perryman, Eric Murray. It goes on and on and on. So many stops in the backfield this game. For them, they led the way in sacks. Chandler Jones still dominant in his 11th year, 2 sacks on the day. Blake Cashman had a sack, Jerome Baker had a sack, Jayon Brown had a sack, Eric Murray had a sack, and Jerry Hughes combined with Rasheem Green for 1 sack. Interceptions on the day. Roderick Teamer Jr. stepping in at safety. He stepped up today, got 2 interceptions. CJ Gardner-Johnson got his first one for us on our side of the ball, but it was not enough for us. Anything else you want to look at? Forced fumbles, I do not believe there were any. Nope, so that would mean no fumble recoveries. Defensive touchdowns, they were none as well. And they have to give all the praise to their kicker, Daniel Carlson. He was 3 for 3. His longest was from 52 yards out. He was perfect on the day, even with his extra point, and he got them the win and kept them in this game. Also, Kai Fairburn, he kept us in the game, 2 for 2, perfect. Also, he is 1-1 in the extra point. And now let's take a look around the league and see what other results happened in week 7. And we're going to start with one of our division rivals, the Jacksonville Jaguars, who we tied with not last week, but a week ago as we had the bye week. And they came out with a narrow 31-27 lead. It looks like they got an early start. Giants tried to claw back, but consistency ruled the game. Nothing crazy in the rushing yards department. It seemed like a pretty even game throughout. Jacksonville did not turn the ball over, so that was probably huge for them. And time of possession, it looks like Jaguars dominated that one as well. Player-specific stats. Trevor Lawrence stepped up, 326 yards, 3 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. Perfect play from him. They need to see more of that consistency, less of the interceptions. Tyrod Taylor, 310 yards, 2 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. That's going to happen with an old guy like that. He's got experience. He's going to be okay, but he's going to make mistakes. Rushing, Saquon Barkley, 20 carries, 111 yards, 1 touchdown. That is the production they need out of that man. James Robinson bounced back for 70 yards, 3.5 a carry. Trevor Lawrence scrambled 5 times, got 16 yards out of it, and he scrambled for a touchdown, so that's awesome. Travis Etienne got a little bit more carries this time out than he did against us, 4 for 12, 3 yards a carry. And Tyrod Taylor also scrambled 4 times. He got 10 out of his. And yeah, pretty solid game in the receiving department. Sterling Shepard, 5 for 146 and a touchdown. Unfortunate for him that he cannot pull out a W for his team. Evan Ingram continues to dominate, 6 for 126, 2 touchdowns on the day. And Jared Cook had a touchdown for the Giants. So a pretty solid game. Laviska Shenault Jr., we know all about him. He got a touchdown as well. And one of the big things to talk about this game, the interception was made by Devin Lloyd. Both of them went into his hands. He continues to be amazing for them, and he's going to be a weapon for the future. If he's doing this as a rookie, we can only imagine. We're going to take a pit stop over to Miami to check on our man Brandon Cook, see how he's doing. And it looks like they ate another loss. So that draft pick seems like it's getting even better. They lost 28-14, and let's see how he did on the day. Well, Tua only threw for 200 yards, 2 touchdowns, and a pick, so not too bad. But what did he get out of it? Jalen Waddle got 79 yards. Gesicki got 58. Where is he? He got 2 catches for 17 yards. Unfortunate for him, but we'll take it. We love to see that. So that's perfect for us. And then the last game we're going to take a look at, it not only covers our last 2 division mates, but also covers our opponent for next week in the Titans, as they're coming off a loss. They lost to the division leading Indianapolis Colts 30-23. And if we look over this game, it looks like the Colts won the rushing attack by a mile. It looks like the passing game is pretty even. Will that be the difference in this game, just the running attack? Turnovers is probably something to look at. Nope, neither of them had a turnover. Time of possession, they ate them up with the running game with that. Player-specific stats. Ryan Tannehill, 189 for 1 touchdown. We'd love to see that. He is filling in for Malik Willis, who I believe is still injured. We can check that out later. Matt Ryan had 203 yards, 3 touchdowns on the day. He's starting to catch his stride. Jonathan Taylor is 236 yards, 6.2 a carry, and a touchdown on the day. Derrick Henry for them. He hasn't had a lot of yardage, but he's been dominating. He had 2 touchdowns on the day. And then receiving, Paris Campbell continues to stand out. Treylon Burks, 2 touchdowns for Ashton Doolin. So that's another weapon for them. Dez Fitzpatrick also had a touchdown. So just a solid day. It looks like they got a lot of help on the offensive side of the ball. Let's see if there was any defensive stands really made. 2 sacks for Jeffrey Simmons, 1 for Kwity Paye, 1 for DeForest Buckner, 1 for Grover Stewart. Interceptions, no interceptions on the day. Any forced fumbles possibly? No, there's not. So I believe that is all we have for that, and we'll be moving on to everything else we got. So now's a good time. We know he had a breakout player opportunity, talking about Dameon Pierce, and let's take a moment to go over what actually came out of that game. How about that game from Dameon Pierce? I've always thought of him as a serviceable backup, even back in his college days, but if we develop him properly, I think he'd be a special player. And I agree, so I believe all of us in the organization, we are now ready to claim Dameon Pierce as a star for this team. So that's going to be huge, and he's going to have a lot of experience going in, especially with his extra time we're giving him. We hope to see him succeed with that. So now, as I think is a good time, let's check in on the scouting department and see what's going on there. So it looks like the second mock draft has come out. It looks like number 1 pick is looking like a receiver. Randy Kerr is going to the Bears. Looks like the Jets are taking a left tackle. Chiefs taking a right outside linebacker. Jalen Jett, Deshaun Allen. Looks like Jaguars are one of our division mates. So we have Deshaun Allen is one of our division mates as well. Looks like they're taking a right defensive end. Dwayne Atkins. The Dolphins with Brandon Cooks. Looks like they're taking a tight end. Get some more weapons on that offense. Not sure that's what they really need. But besides that, let's see. Anything else interesting we need to look at? Obviously, our pick. They want us to take a right defensive end. Xavier Jefferson at 16? I don't know about that one. Not looking good. Our second pick, they want us to take a center, boost up that line. I'm not against that. But this is looking really, really interesting. I think it's going to need a lot more work. Anyways, let's move on to the other scouting situations. So looking around, obviously one of our focuses is quarterback, and I think Jason St. Louis is looking like he's obviously going to be the number 1 option there, so we might have to move up for him eventually, but that is something to look out for. What are some other positions that we really need on this team? We might be able to use a receiver. Obviously, we saw Randy Kerr earlier. He looks like a monster. Looks like he's going to be a deep threat, playmaking, obviously. Let's see. We'll just look at the top prospects for now. We're not really ready to get into all of it. Linebacking, anything possible here? If we want to go early, it looks like Ruben Hemsley or Cam Wynn. Anything on the outside, maybe? Devontae Dobson is an option. Jeff Ellison. On the right side, maybe Deshaun Allen. We saw him. Christian Staley. All these are different options for us. It'll be interesting to see how it goes, but again, it's super early, so I don't want to commit to anything just yet. So we will move on from this. And I think right now is as great a time as ever. We've made all the other decisions. Now it is time to choose our stadium. So we have a lot of options here, and we're going to go through all of them. So we have the basic class of stadiums. It's going to be the Canopy Stadium, the Futuristic Stadium, the Hybrid Stadium, and the Sphere Stadium. We also have traditional, I forgot, and we also have the deluxe editions. So again, Canopy, Futuristic, Deluxe, Sphere, and Traditional. So we have to be considerate of cost, obviously, our market size, where we're going, all those different things. So obviously with basic stadiums, the city is going to be able to cover more of it. So that is something to keep in mind. Personally, for me, I'm going to be honest with you guys. If we're moving, we're investing the money. I think we have to go with something deluxe. We have to go big or go home. We're hoping to be victorious, make a new impact, and I think that'll be very valuable for us. Weekly cost is going to be $0.29 million for the deluxe canopy. So I've done a lot of thinking. Obviously, Texas, very deep rooted in football. Traditional stadium would be a great way to go. You can't really go wrong with it. They'd love it. They love the classic. But I don't think we're going to go with it. It's a little expensive. The Sphere, I get it, but I don't think it works. I don't think that's the vibe of Austin. I don't think that's what we want to go for. Hybrid is interesting. It's definitely a new take. I'm not mad at it, but I'm not sure it fits. Futuristic, I think, is a little over the top for what we're going for, and it's super expensive. And I think with the hot sun, I think the fans are going to love this canopy vibe. It's going to be bright. It's going to be awesome. The players will have to deal with the heat. But if we plan out the sidelines right, we'll be able to stay out of the heat, make it a victory for us like the Dolphins do in Miami. And 38% of the stadium willing to be funded by the city. I think we have to go with this. The proposal, 4,000 suite level seats, 10,000 lower level, 32,000 middle level, and 20,000 upper level. Level 5, top of the line, everything. Let's begin construction. So now that that is set, I believe that is the last decision we have to make in this relocation process, so we love to see that. So now is the time where we have to look over what we're looking towards next week after we made all the decisions, and that starts with looking at the injury report of the Texans. And it looks clean. They have nothing on their record right now, so we'll be facing all weapons, all hands-on. So let's see what all those hands-on are. Now, this is a team we should be getting very familiar with. They start with, at quarterback, Ryan Tannehill. I was incorrect. It looks like he is just the full starter. It looks like Malik Willis is riding the bench for him. At the running back position, it looks like they have Derrick Henry. He's still dominating. He's backed up by Hassan Haskins. At fullback, Tory Carter. At receiver, they have Robert Woods, Treylon Burks, Kyle Phillips. They could definitely use some improvement there. Austin Hooper at tight end. I'm going to run through the line really quick. Taylor Lewan at the left tackle. Denzel Good at the left guard position. At center, they have Ben Jones. At right tackle, they have Nate Davis. At right guard, they have Nate Davis. At right tackle, they have Bobby Massey. At the left end, they have Danico Autry for the defense. At right end, Jeffrey Simmons. He's a star for them. Tayar Tart, something we're going to have to worry about. He's also sharing that with Naquan Jones, backed up by Haskell Garrett. The left outside linebacker position is bolded by the longtime Steeler Bud Dupree. Zach Cunningham in the middle, and Harold Landry on the right. In the corner positions, Christian Fulton, Caleb Farley, Elijah Molden. Free safety, they have Kevin Byard, a star for them back there out of Middle Tennessee State. Strong safety position, they have Amani Hooker, and they love to see that. Kicker, Josh Lambo, and punter, Brett Kern. So now that we've seen what we have to deal with, let's figure out how we're going to deal with it. So I think for our defensive game plan, obviously our number one thing we have to worry about is Derrick Henry. And I think to do that, we're going to defend the outside run, try not to let him burst out, find space, keep him contained, and hopefully we can keep ahead in this game if we're able to shut him down. For our offensive game plan, they have superstars on the line. They have a superstar in the safety positions. I think we should have to stick with us. We have to go run inside, keep feeding it to Pierce. That is the only thing that's working for us. We have to keep up with it. So the goals have been submitted. Coach Lovie Smith has said he wants to see 15 plus first downs. That means possessing the ball, holding it for a long time, working our way down the field. And I think we can do that. That's definitely our style of game. Our offensive coordinator has asked us to get 250 plus offensive yards. I think that's definitely possible. I think that's something we should strive for. Defensive coordinator, allow 20 points or less. We've done very well with keeping the score down low, and I think today will be another opportunity for that. And for me, I've said let's allow 2 or less passing touchdowns. They haven't really been great in the passing game, and if we can limit that, that definitely increases our chances. So if we keep that pressure on, this would be a great goal for us. So we just finished up training, and it looks like we are starting to feel the effects of the season. And we're starting to see a few injuries. So let's start with one of our backup linebackers, Garrett Wallow. He has a quad strain, so he'll be out this week, along with Blake Cashman. He got a hip pointer, so he's going to be out this week. And Royce Freeman, one of our backup halfbacks, he's out 2 weeks with a broken finger. So we're going to need some other guys to step up, and hopefully they can. But for now, that means we will be having to figure out what we're going to do without them. So with the injury, I believe we're going to move Garrett Wallow down to the practice squad, which will allow us to bring up one of our practice squad players, give him a chance to work, give him an opportunity. Unfortunately, it's the life of the NFL. And to do that, we are going to go over to our roster page. We have one linebacker on our practice squad right now, besides Garrett Wallow, who we just sent down, and that is Terez Hall, 25 years old, out of Missouri. It's his 3rd year as a professional. And honestly, he's just, he hasn't really had a lot of opportunities, really. If we take a look at his skills, he's a very great tackler. It looks like he just doesn't know how to get to the second level. To get in the backfield, it looks like he needs some better work in coverage. But it looks like, besides that, if you could make him just like a solid edge rusher, he could grow into something very special. But on the positive side of things, we did have some good things that came out of practice, like improvements, especially from our man, Dameon Pierce. He continues to improve. We saw improvements in awareness, break tackle, stiff arm. We also saw some improvements in some other skills, such as agility, awareness, and his spin move. Oh, such a powerhouse. He's getting a spin move. He's going to continue to dominate. 22-year-old rookie who is a star. We love to see the growth. We also saw some growth from our man, Jonathan Grenard. He saw some growth as obviously the speed rusher that he is. We saw some improvements in acceleration, and his finesse moves are getting even better. So we love to see that. And finally, the last player we want to highlight, we saw some great improvement from our man, Obo Okoronkwo. We love to see him. If we take a look at his skill set once more, he's going to be a speed rusher as well. He doesn't really have the power that these dominant strength ones do, but he has some decent speed. So when we looked over him, we watched him in practice, and we saw him improving on awareness and his finesse moves. So we love to see that. We love to see the growth. Hopefully he's gonna be able to step up next year coming off the injured list and be able to step up for us.